Hey everyone. Okay, so here's what I will do on this one. I will show you how you can create a button that can change the color and the text size and things like that. So I'm going to plop a button out here. I'll put the button down here, and then I'm going to take a text area and drop it up here. Now the text area has some different elements that you can change. So there is this font family. So I can set the font to any of these things, but I can't, I need to be able to do it in the program itself. So we'll talk about how to do that. And then the font size, I can set the font size to be anything. I can just make that a random number. We did that in the last video. And if I wanted to change the color, I can use RGB and make these numbers here to be random numbers. So let's start out. Let's go to the code. And let's create some variables and let's declare them. So I'm going to go var r, I'm going to go var g, and var b. So those are going to be my random, those are going to be my color variables for when I'm setting the color. And then I need to have something for the font size. So I will call this font size. I better just call it font S in case that is I will go an underscore S, and it's hard to see that, but it's there. And then for the font styles, we need to create a list. And we have never done a list yet. So I will show you how to do a list. The var list is down here. So I'm going to grab that block and stick it up there. And I'm going to call this, these are my font. So I don't know what I'll do here. I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to rename that puppy. I'm just going to call this font size like I wanted to originally. And I will call this font styles, and I have Arial, and I have I think it was Georgia. So let's go to design again. Let's look down here. There's Arial, there is Georgia, and I'll use Times. Arial and Georgia and Times. If you could get all of those in there, you could put all of those in there. So I will go back here to the code. Arial, Georgia, oops, try that again. Georgia and Times. And then what I'm going to need is I'm going to need a random number to choose one of these things. And so like this is number 0, this is number 1, that is number 2. So I'm just going to need to have a random number. I'm just going to set the variable for it or declare the variable. I'm not going to actually assign it a random number. And I will call this my index number. And so every time I click on this button, I want to change the text. So I should probably go ahead and we'll see if this works. I'm going to go back to my design and I'm going to type in some initial text I want to see. This is my initial text. If I spelled initial right, it would be awesome. All right, now let's go to the button. Button's good. And let's go to the code. So what I need for the button is I'm going to need a trigger. So I've got my on event trigger. And so when I click on the button, which is button 2 now, when I click on it, I want to have all of these variables set up to be something else. So I'm going to set up R. I don't want to drag that one. I want to use this one. So R is going to be a random number between 0 and 255. Now wait a minute. I probably should have used the math block, but I think when you guys get better at it, you'll just know I need to type this in. All right, so I'm going to go back here to the variables again. And I'm going to get this var block up here at the top again. I'm going to get this one. This will be G. And this will be a random number between 0 and 255. Close the parenthesis. Good. And then I think this is where I could probably, I'm going to show text because I think it's going to be easier for me to do the text. B is going to be another random number from 0 to 255. So keep using the blocks, but don't be afraid of the text. So this is what it looks like. Now, font size is going to be a random number as well. So I'm going to go, I'm going to drag a var block out here, and this is going to be font size, and this is going to be a random number between, say, 10 and 50. And then I need to choose. I'm probably going to need one more variable up here. So I'm going to grab one more variable, and I'm going to call this font, the actual font. All right, and then down here I'm going to grab another variable, and this is going to be font. And it's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the index. Oh, I better do the index number first. So my index number is going to be a random number from 0 to 2. And then my font, my actual font is going to be font style square brackets index. So what this is doing here is this is going to choose in line 13 a random number between 0 and 2, and then this is going to choose that element from the font style list. And the font style list is Arial, Georgia, and Times. If you add more elements there, you're going to need to change this random number. But the Arial is number 0, Georgia is number 1, Times is number 2, and so I'm selecting a random number from there. And so now what I need to do is I need to set the different properties of this text area. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to set a property. So set property of text area 2. Let's set the font family, and the font family is going to be font. So I'm going to delete all this stuff out here. Oh, I did not mean to do that. And I deleted it out, and that's going to be my, that is going to be the text area, the font family that I'm setting it. I'm going to set another property. I want the color of the text area. So I want the color, text color. And this is going to be, I'm going to delete all this stuff in the quotes out. This is going to be RGB, and then R, G, and B, because those are my random numbers that I've already done. And then I'm going to set, the last property is going to be font size. So I'm going to set the property of the, here's my text area. Here is the font size. And I'm going to delete that out, and I'm going to put in my font size variable. Now let's see if this works. Hopefully it does. We're going to find out. Let's run it, and let's click this. And there you go. So it's obviously I did not make my box large enough to fit all the text in sometimes. And if you wanted to make a watcher for all your variables, you could see how your variables are changing. But every time I click on the button, I get a different font style, a different font size, and a different font color.